Hey guys, SH here, and today I'm gonna talk about the Hemlock BF-R. Well, this is gonna be the one and only single lonely burst fire assault rifles that you'll be able to use in Titanfall, and you can unlock this gun at level 29. Now let's talk about the damage. So the damage of this gun is actually pretty high, which has the maximum damage of 60 up close until the 33 meters, and then it's gonna drop down to 45 at a distance, which is around 44 meters. So it's gonna take between 4 to 5 shots to kill, but the 5-shot kill range is gonna be extremely minimal thanks to its solid range and the damage. Now, if you look at the range of this gun carefully, this gun has a solid range of 33 meters, so you're pretty much maintaining that 60 damage until the 33 meters, and that is an extremely long range, especially in Titanfall where you mostly engage guys between the close to medium range. The 33 meters, you're pretty much guaranteed to get that 4-shot kills at pretty much any ranges, period. Now, if you put a suppressor on this weapon, your damage is gonna get nerfed from the 60 to 49 and then the 45 to 33. So it makes it between 5 to 6 shots to kill. And if you guys don't know anything about the suppressors in Titanfall, unlike any other famous AAA titles such as Call of Duty or Battlefield 3, if you use the suppressors in Titanfall, instead of nerfing their range, it actually nerfs your damage to the point where it actually takes 1 extra shot to kill up close and at a distance. So it's gonna take between 5 to 6 shots to kill once you start using a suppressor. But to counteract that problem, you can actually try to go for a headshot, and if you actually get at least 1 headshot, you're pretty much cancelling out the entire side effects of using a suppressor in Titanfall. So always go for at least 1 headshot if you are willing to be stealthy while using a suppressor on this weapon. Now, if you want to go against the other Titan, it's gonna deal damage between the 10 to 30 depending on its range. So I'm not gonna recommend you going against the other Titan with any weapons in pilot class, because that is pretty much the same thing as tickling the Titan, and Titan usually has around 5,000 up to 10,000 health, so never try to go against the other Titan with any pilot weapons whatsoever. Now, if you rodeo a guy with this weapon, your damage is gonna go up from 60 to 170. So this gun is pretty good at rodeoing thanks to its high rate of fire. But one thing to keep in mind though is that this gun has a pretty low magazine size. So if you are running out of magazine while rodeoing, you're pretty much screwed. So I would highly recommend you going for the extended magazine if you can while using this weapon. That's gonna help by quite a lot. Now for the rate of fire of this gun is actually pretty high, which fires at 915 rounds per minute per 3-shot burst. So it has a 0.25 seconds burst delay per shot or per burst. So if you actually calculate the burst delay and then the actual fire rate, it has around 403 rounds per minute. That's what I calculated, so don't quote me on this because I might be wrong. So you guys can comment down below if you actually were able to calculate it correctly. So just comment down below if I did anything wrong, and again, just don't quote me on this. Now, before moving into other stats, I quickly want to talk about this modification called the Starburst, which is a pretty good modification, by the way. If you use a Starburst on the Hemlock BF-R, it actually increases the rate of fire from 915 rounds per minute to 1200 rounds per minute, and that is equivalent to Scorpion Evo's back in Battlefield 2. And it also increases the magazine size by 24 to 25, because if you guys look at the name, it's called the Starburst, which actually makes it the 5 shots per burst. So your magazine size increases from the 24 to 25 to get that exact 5, and then it also reduces the delay from 0.25 seconds to 0.24 seconds, and that is extremely minimal, but yes, it is there. So I calculated the 1200 rounds per minute at the 0.25 seconds burst delay, so it has a total rounds per minute of around 462 rounds per minute. Again, don't quote me on those because that was totally my calculations and I could be totally off. So if you guys can figure it out, just comment down below, and I would love to fix the stats in the description below. So 1200 rounds per minute with the 5 shots per burst. That sounds pretty cool, right? But here's the kicker. It increases the hard kick by 65%. And for those of you guys, if you don't know what the hard kick is and what the hell I'm talking about, so when you actually aim down sight and when you fire a weapon, sometimes the recoil will just smoothly go off, so you can just pull your mouse and it will make it easy to control your recoil. But if you increase the hard kick, instead of your recoil increasing gradually, it just suddenly goes up, and that's what exactly the hard kick does. So hard kick, it increases by 65%, so you are gonna feel that sudden increase of recoil while using this attachment. So what I recommend you while using this modification is to engage guys in the close range only. Between the medium and the long range, you are pretty much gonna die, period, because of its high recoil and very limited magazine size. But if you are engaged guys in a close range, this gun has one of the fastest time to kill in terms of rounds per minute and the damage and the range. So always try to engage guys in a close to medium range with this weapon or with this modification. Now, as far as the real recoil goes, the real recoil of this gun is actually pretty low. It's mostly vertical, so you're probably not gonna have any problem engage guys between medium to long range, so just know about that. Now for the magazine size, it's actually very limited, which has 24 rounds but 19 spare magazines, and if you put an extending mag on, it's going to go up to 30 rounds with 15 spare magazines, and if you use a Starburst, you're going to have the 25 rounds with also 19 spare magazines. Now for the reload time, of this gun is actually pretty slow, which takes 2.52 seconds with one in the chamber and 3.0 seconds empty. So what I recommend you is try to use the quick reloading perk, which actually reduces the reloading time by 25%, and I know 25% isn't too significant, but once you start using it, you are going to feel that difference. And if you are going 1v1 against the other weapon and you both run out of ammo, you are going to have the 25% advantage. So I would highly recommend you using the quick reloading perk with this weapon, because this gun has a very slow reloading time. Now for the aim down size time, it is a little below the average, which takes 0.3 seconds zooming in and 0.2 seconds zooming out. So it isn't too slow like the LMGs or something, but it is pretty slow. So what I recommend you is to aim down sight as frequently as possible with this gun. And as long as you aim down sight and as long as you burst fire, I don't think it's gonna be too much a big of a problem, because this gun is not meant for the close range. This gun is meant between the medium to long range, so always aim down sight with this weapon, so pretty slow aim down sight time. Now for the hipfire spread, it's actually pretty average, on par with the Spitfire LMG and R110 carbine, so there's not gonna be any problems if you want to hipfire with this weapon. But one thing to keep in mind though is that this gun is a burst fire weapon, so you're gonna have to keep that burst, and you're gonna have a disadvantage of firing that burst a lot slower than the typical assault rifles or the SMGs. So my recommendation is not to hipfire with this weapon, because that burst fire delay is pretty much gonna mess up your shot and it's pretty much gonna kill you. So if you see a guy in extremely close range, just melee it, and if you see a guy in a close to medium range, just aim down sight and kill that guy, and you should be good to go. Now for my recommendation, I'm gonna recommend you using the HCOG sight with 1.85 times sight, because that is a really good sight between the medium to long range engagements. And I know it's only 1.85 times, but this gun, you really don't want to engage guys between the medium and the long range. And I know it's a burst fire weapon, and I know it has a low recoil, but one thing to keep in mind is that you're gonna have to take that 2 full bursts in order to kill a guy in the medium to long range. But between close to medium range, it's only gonna take the 4 shots to kill, and that's the reason why I chose the HCOG sight over to any other size in this weapon. Now for the modification, I'm going to recommend you using the extended mag, because there is no side effects whatsoever. The only side effect is about the magazine size. You have a little bit more limited magazine size, but remember that you're getting 30 rounds instead of 24 rounds, so there's a pretty significant increase, and 2 extra bursts can often save you quite a lot. For me, while using extended magazines, it saved me by a lot of times, and that's why I'm recommending for you to use the extended mag over the any other modifications in this weapon. Now here's another special setup for people who want to engage guys in a close range. You can use a Starburst with the iron sight, and the reason why I'm recommending for you to use the iron sight is because of its zoom level. The zoom level is the lowest, and you really don't want to have a high zoom level sight if you want to engage guys in a close range. And one fun fact, if you use a Starburst and Hemlock BF-R, it has one of the fastest time to kill out of any guns in Titanfall, so that's pretty cool, right? So that's why I'm using the Starburst, and that's why I'm using the iron sight, so that's gonna be a pretty beast choice to go, as long as you can register at least 4 shots to kill in a close range. I think the gameplay is coming to the end here, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope this was at least useful, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace!